Good evening, everybody. It is Wednesday, and that means it's time for another episode of Ma1ne Snekky live on MSP Waves. It is the 27th of September 2018. My name is Poetic Snake, and as always, I am joined by Mr. Radio Voice himself, Main Event. Are you with us?
I am here. Good evening, Poetic Snake.
Good evening.
How are you doing tonight, Snekky?
Oh, I'm slithering fine. And what about you?
I am doing quite well, and we are happy to be here with all of you from the Steem Community tonight on MSP Waves. Again, this is Ma1ne Snekky, and what this show is just the two of us hanging out each and every Wednesday night with you, the Steem Community, and getting to know some of you a little better. We do a lot of interviews with various Steemians from all over the world, and it's a lot of fun to get to know all of you and to just kind of hang out and talk about your Steem experience that you're having lately, utilizing the Steem blockchain. And it's been an interesting couple of days, to say the least, right, Snek?
Yeah, I have this little rhyme. It's orc. We did a freaking hard fork. How good is that, huh?
That's a good one. Then yes, hard fork 20, right, is the hard fork that we have just experienced. That's the word I'll use so far. There's been a lot of other words to describe it, and so I'll use my word as we've just experienced it. We've experienced hard fork 20. That's where we're at, and hopefully it's going to mean good things for the blockchain and things going forward. And it's been fascinating to me to kind of just watch all of these events progress over the last couple of days and to see how there is such a strong community within the Steem environment because all of these people care so much that the platform is up and running, whether things are working. They're immediately getting on the chat rooms and, of course, saying something doesn't work or it is working. And so these moments do show us, the full scale of the Steem community, in my opinion. What do you think, Snekky?
Well, it it kind of gave me like a heart attack, and I'm not good with changes, so maybe I'm one of the few people that didn't look forward to the hard fork. But yeah, it's done, and now we all have to adapt to it, and it's not going smoothly, but I think that's okay. I mean, it's a start of a platform, and every problem we fix right now is good for the platform. We learn from it. Well, the people who do it learn from it, and I just I took a day off yesterday, and that was kind of nice.
Absolutely. And of course, we'll talk about all of this, throughout the show with our various guests that we're going to have on the show tonight. And again, this is Ma1ne Snekky here on MSP Waves. It's wonderful to have you all here with us on this Wednesday evening. You, of course, can listen to the show in a variety of ways. You can tune in on MSPWaves.com, and that's also where you can see the full schedule of all the different radio shows, all hosted by your fellow Steemians. And again, that's MSPWaves.com. So if anybody wants to throw the link here in chat, certainly do that so people can check out MSP Waves. You can also hang out with us here in the Peace, Abundance, Liberty Discord server. So if you have Discord chat, hop on in the Peace, Abundance, Liberty server. That is, of course, the home of the Minnow Support Project. And we hope you'll join us in the audience chat room and say hello. So a big hello to all of our listeners that we have chatting in the room right now.
Yeah, and the list is big. Woohoo! Welcome, everybody. And also, no, I wanted to say something, but nope, I'm not going to do it.
Menno has the link to MSP Waves in the chat right now, and of course, Menno is going to be our first guest here in just a couple of minutes. And so again, jump on there and check out the full schedule of all the different radio shows, all hosted by your fellow Steemians. And Snekky, before we get going too far, I'm just going to play our little disclaimer for everybody.
No, don't do it. You are listening to Ma1ne Snekky on MSP Waves. Everything you hear on this show is our opinion only and should not be taken as financial advice or advice of any kind. We are not financial experts or experts of anything. This show is intended for entertainment purposes only. MSPWaves and its owners take no responsibility for the opinions or statements made by the talk show host or our guests. Statements or show topics are not necessarily the beliefs of MSPWaves. The material on Ma1ne Snekky is provided for educational, informational, and entertainment purposes only. Always do your own research.
That's right.
Yeah, always do your own research. I am not liable.
Right, and that's why we say, we're not considering ourselves to be experts of any particular subject that we talk about, is what we mean in that little statement. So.
Oh yeah, I don't know anything.
Do your own research.
Yep.
That's what we like to say. Again, big hello and welcome to everybody who's chatting in the live audience. I see quite a few names out here. Of course, Ma1ne, who's going to be on the show. I see Ace on Intrigue, Pendaris, Dynamics in the chat, Eroded Thoughts, Ferrisim's out there. Hello. Let's see. Did I miss anybody? Artemis North. Let me scroll back here. Hello to everybody who is tuning in.
Oh, I see apples. Thank you, Artemis.
Yes, Poetic Snake loves her apples, absolutely. Let's see here. So, we've got a nice audience rolling into the room, so I think we can get going here with our first interview and our first guest.
Are you sure?
I think we're ready. Are you ready, Snekky? Sure?
No, I'm never ready, but let's go for it.
All right. Everybody, please welcome Ma1ne to the show tonight. Ma1ne, how are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good, my brother. Thank you for having me.
Well, it is certainly our pleasure to have you on the show.
Bo, the pleasure is all mine. And it's funny, you asked me if it was my first time, because you were under the impression I had been on the show before. And for a second, I thought so too. But then I kind of searched on my mental archives, and no, I never actually been a guest of your show. We've had conversations on just the audio here, but I've never been a guest on your show, funny enough.
It's really great to have you here with us.
Oh, awesome. Thank you for having me, guys. And it's a funny day to do it, right? Like, obviously, we didn't plan on this, but, we talked about it last week, but it's a really funny day to be having,
it is.
This conversation.
It is. And we talked about this earlier that, it just happens to work out that today's the day you're going to be on the show. But I want everybody to kind of get to know you a little bit better, Ma1ne. Some of the projects that you work on, some of your experiences that you've had here on the Steem blockchain. So why don't we just start off with something basic? Remind the audience, what country are you in tonight? Where do you reside from?
Well, I live in Florida currently. I was actually born in South America, but I've been in the States for like 20-something years now. So that's kind of why I speak a few languages. But I live in Florida, so I jokingly said maybe a few times on chat and also on audio that I live in the closest place to America, because Florida is the one place where crazy shit happens. Mm-hmm. There you go, for assume deflagged. Yeah, we're starting a new SMT, deflag. Be on the lookout there. So yeah, but I am in America currently. I don't know for how much longer, honestly, because we've been considering moving this year, and it might still happen to another country for a little while. But yeah.
And how long have you been on the Steem blockchain, and how did you ever find your way here in the first place?
Well, I've been here for over a year now. So let me see the days. 14 moons. So what is that? Like 12 moons is, yeah. So that's like
August 2017.
Yeah. I've been here for a little while. It seems it's kind of crazy, right? Because I have two mindsets on this. For one, I feel that I've been here forever, and sometimes I feel like I just got here. So it's kind of funny how that works. But I got here last year, obviously, because of the hype of cryptocurrencies. I was looking into it a little bit. I came from doing some, regular stock trading, and for not even a whole year before I landed into cryptos. And even though I did know a little bit about what Bitcoin was, I didn't understand the value proposition. And then when the whole crypto YouTuber thing became a thing, I found some really interesting characters, and one of them is, he's no longer a witness, and we don't have to talk too much about that. But he had a very crazy video that made me go, "What? I can make that much money blogging? Are you crazy?" And that's how I ended up in here.
Yeah, some people have similar stories to that, and it's always interesting to hear all the different ways that people find their way to the Steem blockchain. And it's awesome to get to know yours a little bit better too. So before you came here, were you somebody who created content? Were you somebody who was into blogging? Or I see that you like to make videos now and things like that. Was that something you did before you joined Steem?
Yeah, I've been doing this for forever. I just never got paid for it. But it's just, there's nothing too magical about it. I'm not even saying I'm good at it. It's just, it's always been therapy for me to write or to record. So I've always been writing philosophy, and I've had blogs. I've had I had podcasts that I would do, and I would put places, and some people would listen to them, some people wouldn't, and I did that for years. The other day, I actually found my older YouTube channel that I don't even remember what email I used for it, and it's got these videos of me talking about life, and they're like 11, 12 years old. So I've always been doing this. It's just, it's a way that I digest my existence, I guess. But so that's kind of why it resonated so much with me, because I'm like, what? I can, instead of me putting these audio files, because I will put them in SoundClick or in SoundCloud or Podbean, of these philosophy things I like to write about and talk about. I'm like, I can put them on this website, and then people actually will pay me, because I never gotten paid for it. And that's kind of how I landed here. And then this became the gateway into understanding a whole new world, really. Because cryptocurrencies, you really have to just remove a mental chip that you come with and put a new one.
Yeah, it certainly is it's a whole new world once you start learning about cryptocurrencies and realize so much is out there. And we always talk about how this blockchain creates a lot of opportunities for people, not only for possible rewards, but just to express themselves, to make new friends, to make connections and networks. And it's really fascinating, this entire space, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, I remember the mental switch. Like, it's not that I could give you the exact second where all of a sudden I was like, man, I'm not the same person. But I do remember the old me, having this concept of value, this concept of jobs, this concept of growth, of personal growth. That is very different from the person that I believe myself to be today. And I'm not saying I'm better or anything like that. I'm just saying it's different. And what's funny about that is that I don't know if anybody else has gone through this process, is that I was completely okay, like a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, with not understanding a lot of things about like social economics. Like, I was completely okay with that. Like, it didn't matter where things came from, how things worked. And as I dug into this field and I learned more and more about social economics, I'm like, I realized how ignorant I still am and how much more I need to learn. And there was no turning back. All of a sudden, everything that before I saw as, oh, that's concrete, this is knowledge, today I see like, well, that's probably BS too. And I became more skeptic about, I guess you could say, mainstream life. And I don't know if it's because of Steem. It's really because of the brain power that I found on Steem. There's a lot of people here who are vastly intelligent, a lot more than I am, and so the whole thing has been like a PhD for me, coming in here and learning from them.
And did you notice that right away, or did it take you a few weeks? Because for me, it took me a few weeks, before I started to feel those things that you were talking about.
Yeah. It took some. I remember. Okay, so I got here. Maybe like 1 or 2 weeks into it, I was about to quit, right? And then I got involved with the open mic, and I got like a Curie, and then, as they say, the rest is history. And I was about to quit because not because of the money, by the way. It's more because of the interaction. That is the part that to me is the most valuable. I don't have this whole idea of like, oh, what I say, what I write, the videos I make are so freaking amazing, you better freaking pay me. I've never had that idea. It was more like, well, if nobody sees it, then why am I doing it here? Like, is there anybody listening? Is there anybody out there, as the song says? But I was about to leave, and then the Curie happened. And I remember maybe a week or two after that, walking into a bank. And this is kind of funny because I had cashed out for the first time some crypto, right, through Coinbase. Okay, so like nothing too fancy. And it was the first time I walked into a bank, and I was like, man, what is money? Because all of a sudden the concept of money just started to shift in my head. And up until that moment, I never questioned the freaking thing. I never questioned paper. I never questioned, what gold backing was and why it was removed, none of that stuff. So I was just standing there and said, what is money? And that happened just a couple of weeks after being here.
That whole world of, truth and learning about our history, and especially our history of money and things like that, is an awakening experience for people when they start to realize that maybe what they were taught or what they understood about money isn't really true necessarily. And we could obviously go on about that for a long time, but it's interesting how people are finding their way into crypto and things like the Steem blockchain, and a lot of these sometimes like-minded people are finding their way here. And I've noticed, I've interacted with a lot of people that, of course, if they're into cryptocurrency, they are understanding that there are other options out there in the world of finance and money and all these things. And it's this world is so big that we're discovering. It's really eye-opening.
Hands down, it makes you question really if you've been asleep your whole life. At least it did for me. Like, have I been asleep my whole life? Yeah. That's kind of how I feel. There was this idea of value that was so abstract, and I was so okay with it. And it wasn't until I started to dig into cryptos that I finally understood that there's almost like two realities happening at all times. There's one that is physical, like, for example, the tree is right there and I can touch it. And there's this other reality that is basically an agreement of ideas. Like, if you agree on something, I agree on something, therefore it's real. And that most of the human experience is based on that. And just because we can agree on something at a giant level, it means that we can assign value to whatever it is that we agree on. And that is the only thing that is necessary for value to exist. But for me to land there, it took a little while. So I was like, yeah, money is the most successful idea ever. Everybody agrees that money is valuable, but it's just an idea. At the end of the day, it's just paper. And then it's when I understood what cryptos were supposed to do and how they could overtake the world as we know it, because they are basically overtaking that primal idea that is a piece of paper that is obviously we don't even control, giving it back to the people, and then more and more people are agreeing that it's a great idea, and it's just a snowball. So, but it took a little while for me to understand that, and that's why I find magical about the whole experience, regardless of the valuation and like, oh my God, going to the moon. Like, I'm done with that crap. Like, it's more the philosophical concept, and it kind of sounds silly, right? Because we're talking about cryptos and I'm talking about philosophy, but to me, they're attached but to the hip,
Yeah, I agree that there is a mindset, really. Of course, there's going to be, people who are serious about, investing or trying to make money, and they're going to see it in their, site how they want to. They see it as a possible money-making opportunity, and that's fine. But then, of course, there's people that are on the other end of the spectrum, like you, who say, it's more of a philosophical reason why you're, doing what you're doing now. And it's two very different things. And then you have some people who are kind of in the middle. They do a little of both, of course. So there is big ends of the spectrum in crypto, obviously. And there's probably people that use it for other reasons. And, that's what's great about it. Like you said, it's coming back to the people, and then they can choose to, what they decide to do with it is up to them.
Yeah. And here's the other deal. Like, this is my opinion, of course, and everybody's welcome to disagree. I know that some of my opinions are too utopian to some people, but I honestly think that there is no turning back, right? Like, we're moving in this direction. We're changing what we value so much because, the way the technology is moving is basically invalidating useless humans. And when I say useless, I'm not saying that there is such thing. Obviously, every single life is precious. But what is happening is that more and more things are being taken over by automation. Like we have this idea that, oh no, the jobs are gone and it's because of migration, all that stuff, and maybe that is part of the story. But the bigger picture is that a lot of things are being automated, and we're shifting what we find valuable as a society, and we're coming to an agreement that our social interactions are the most valuable thing we possess. And within that reality, that agreement of that idea is the fact that social media took over the world, and there we are, and then we invest so much into ourselves emotionally into this whole thing, and we are constructing a new social life on virtual realities that are not virtual anymore. So this whole thing, it's like, if I see my process, and I don't know if anybody can relate to this, but if I see my process or my story here, I started like, oh, I can make some money. Oh, look, there's people that appreciate what I do. Like, and all of a sudden I'm like, okay, this is life changing, not just for me, but for many other people. And this is the way that society is headed. And so I started at 0 miles per hour, and today I'm doing 120 kind of deal.
Yep, and it's awesome to hear your story. And again, everybody, if you're just tuning in, welcome to the show. We are chatting tonight with Ma1ne. So if you've got questions for Ma1ne coming up here a little bit later in the interview, feel free to leave some in the audience chat. Of course, we'll let Ma1ne have the discretion of what ones he wants to answer and whatnot. But yeah, so feel free to ask questions of Ma1ne. Sorry, you cut me off, Snekky. What?
I like to cut you off. Isn't it ask anything night?
That's up to Ma1ne.
Go for it. I don't mind. I'll make it fun.
I always try to make it an ask anything evening, but Ma1ne always stops me.
So I'm not stopping you. It's always up to the guest. That's
true.
That's the thing
the
about the guests.
Are stopping me.
No, definitely not.
Go for it. They'll make it fun. Ask it.
But Ma1ne, so now that you've been here for a little over a year, why don't you let us know, kind of what are some of the things that are keeping you here now? What types of projects are you working on, and how are you utilizing the Steem blockchain now that you've been here, a little over a year?
Well, this is also has been like a weird transition, right? When I first started, I considered myself just to be a content creator, like many others, and I didn't believe that I had too much else to offer to the blockchain at the very beginning. But then soon after, I found myself being part of the open mic team, and of course, everybody knows about the open mic. That's the one that Lucifer runs, and it's the longest running contest on the blockchain. And I became a judge for the open mic team, and then we started even Songwriters Challenge, and I gave away a guitar. This was at the beginning of the year. And I got really involved with the community of musicians. I'm a musician myself. That is my first love. So I've always felt that a lot of affinity for musicians, because I feel most of them are empathic like me, and most of them, and I love original music. So it was like the perfect place for me to find all those elements. But then other things started to happen, and then I got myself into more and more trouble. The whole idea of Helpy started just because I remember I'm a bit of a nerd, and I say that with pride. I am a nerd. I like reading, and I like learning new stuff. But I also realize that that some things everybody has a different speed with which they can learn new things. And I was thinking to myself, it's like, how do I do something if there is anything I could do to help other people understand how this whole thing works? So, because I kept on seeing amazing, talented people, like awesome writers, awesome musicians, just jumping onto the platform and then falling right off. And Anka and I, so the boss lady here, we're having this conversation back in maybe December or so, and I'm like, well, you know what it is? It's like, and I was telling Anka, it's like, you didn't leave the blockchain because I read all this stuff, and then I kept on feeding you the information, and then you understood it. But a lot of it still is very confusing for people. So maybe the trick is to come up with a game or something of the sort that would teach people about Steem, how this whole thing is supposed to work, and they can have fun, and they can they can learn, and maybe they can make some money. And that's how the whole Helpy thing started. That was it. It was supposed to be an educational tool that I delegated some Steam power to it. And I was like, oh, we're going to write these questions for Steemians. And if they participate and they learn a new thing about Steam, like how to power down, how to power up, what is the difference between SPD or in Steam? Like, we just made very simple questions. We made it into a game. Then they could win a couple of cents here and there. They would stay motivated and they wouldn't leave, because once they learned, then they had a reason to stay. It's not so confusing anymore. They have a reason to stay. And that's how it started, speaking of the devil. But of course, then it became something else entirely. Today is like a pretty, I mean, for me, right? It's a pretty big project with awesome people. And we recently even started a witness campaign. So.
Yeah, and it's amazing how, something that started out as just an idea that you had has now grown into an entire project, and so that's really awesome to hear when we get a chance to talk to Steemians who go through the whole journey. I really enjoy those interviews. Like you mentioned that, early on you considered quitting and, you thought you were going to just not use it much or whatnot. And then here you are now, you've got a project going. You've got radio shows, you got a witness that you've started. Could you have ever imagined, when you first started a year ago, that you would be doing all the things you're doing now?
No, not really, not at all. And it's not that I'm selling myself short. It's like I think that all of us have the potential to learn new things and be good at it if we put a lot of effort towards it. But if I had to list what I thought were my abilities or the things that I could do, I never saw those connected to cryptocurrencies. And the reason why I say that, again, it's not trying to sell myself short, but like what I've done most of my life has been management. That's what I've done. I've been a manager of a store, of a restaurant. That's what I've been doing my whole life, and a musician at night. So if you grab those two ingredients and you tell me, okay, now make somebody successful with cryptos and give this guy, this is what this guy knows what to do, I would tell you that doesn't sound compatible. But somehow, some way, it's working, somehow.
Take it one day at a time, right? Yeah. Now, I'm curious, so what inspired you to evolve the Helpy project into a Steem witness? What was your thought behind that?
That was actually a scalability thing. Because when we first started, I was a very small, I still am a small account by if I compare myself to whales and whatnot. I'm a dolphin nowadays. I mean, I'm about to hit 9,000 Steam power, which for me is like, oh my God, that's awesome. I never thought I would get there if I'm to be honest. But when I first started Helpy, I think I had a little bit over 1,000 Steam power. So I thought to myself, okay, I'm just going to concentrate on finding, and this is kind of why I tell you that the managerial thing, I forced it into doing something for me, right? Because when I was a manager for stores, and I did that, one of the things that would allow me to have a easier life would be to find talented people that could do the job better than me. Like somebody that kicked my butt doing something. And so, and always when I would hire somebody for the stores or whatever, it would be somebody that I believed had the potential and also had a good heart. So I just applied that to Helpy. I was like, well, what if I bring this person? Look, this person putting all that effort in. Let me bring him into Helpy. And I kept on supporting these people with my SP, which was nothing. But I wanted to have something to show for before I knocked on any doors. And then once I had the idea somewhat, chiseled out, like Anka helped me making an awesome logo. I think our logo is pretty awesome, but I'm super biased. And we started to create like an image and all this stuff. I knocked on some doors and I asked for delegations. I said, here, this is what I'm doing. I'm not taking any votes. And still to this day, I'm not taking one single vote because I believe not in getting a bigger slice of the pie for me. I believe in making the pie bigger. You know what I mean? Like that's my vision for Steem. It's like, I'm going to make Steem be worth $20, $30, not how can I get more tokens? So I don't take any votes from Helpy. And I haven't taken votes from Helpy almost from the beginning. But I went to a witness, Osbit Bank, which is really, we became friends. And, me and Crystal, his wife, were like super good friends. And I said, this is my idea. This is what I want to do. And he was, I guess, the first person that believed in what I was doing. And he delegated 1,000 steam power to my project. Back then, that was brutal. Like right now, I think about it and I go like, oh, 1,000 steam power. But back then I was like, oh my God, I can't believe I got 1,000 steam power. This is crazy. And then we started to bring more people in and we started to grow. Next thing you know, we're like, oh, you know what? There's like 25 people in here. That's kind of crazy. And we started doing these hangouts. Snekky has been to some of the hangouts and we talk about ideas, how to grow on Steam, and all this stuff. And it just started to keep on growing. But it became a thing. I was like, oh, you know what? Yeah, we're supporting all these things. We're doing curations. We're supporting these content creators. We keep on running out of juice. So now we got really lucky lately, I have to say, because more witnesses joined Helpy, and like Marky Mark delegated 2,500 steam power to it. And then like 2 weeks later, the Real Wolf delegated 15,000 steam power to Helpy. And all of a sudden, it just started to grow, and we're getting more people. And I'm like, okay, if we want to keep this happening, if we want to scale, then we might have to run a witness. Because if not, it's not. Helpy's not spamming. It's just making one post a day, and it's not growing big enough and natively to keep on growing on members. So I'm like, all right, so we're gonna have to make a witness, and that way it can scale, and that way we can keep on finding awesome people on the platform that we can keep on supporting them. But the real mission of Helpy, even though it does do financial support, the real mission is really to be, in my mind, at least the way I see it, is to be a positive force for the community. So we don't really have rules. The only one that we have is no drama. That's the whole point. It's just good people that value people more than money, and then the money is just the icing on the cake. That's kind of like the mission there. So we try to find people on the platform that have that fighter mentality. We try to find those people that are givers, not takers, and bring them into the fold so they don't feel alone, so they don't feel that they're ignored. And we play games for that reason too. We actually play games that are designed, and I say this lovingly, to brainwash people and to escaping that mentality of scarcity that we have by default. I'll tell you about the games later, but yeah, we play some games for that. Brainwashing.
You heard it here first, folks. No, just kidding. No, that's awesome. I think it's good that you're that passionate about wanting to help the Steem blockchain, help the Steem community. Those are the types of people, in my opinion, that we need around here. And of course, everything on this show is just our opinions. But what you're talking about is resonating with me. I think that's a great thing. I've certainly supported the Helpy Witness, so. Yeah, I think that's a great thing, and congratulations on taking that next step.
Thank you, brother. Thank you.
Yeah,
well, I think.
Jump right in here,
Snekky.
Snekky.
Me or you?
No, jump right in, Snekky. Jump right in.
Oh, I'm jumping right in. Oh my God. No, I just wanted to say that the Helpy community, I've been there, like you said, a few times, and there's this certain feeling you get when you go to a new platform or a new community, and when I entered Helpy, it was like, wow, this is a great place to be. Everybody is so friendly, so amazing and helpful, and they're helping each other, they're making each other laugh, they're lifting each other up, and that's amazing to see. So I really hope that and also with the witness, I really hope that this will grow like to the moon. Really, I do.
Thank you. And you know what? The whole brainwashing thing, I say that up front. So like, there's no Helpy member that is going to tell me, oh, I didn't know that. No, straight out brainwashing. Everything I do, it's brainwashing. It's brainwashing because I think most people, when they jump onto the platform, they get so they focus so much on their blog and me, and they fall into the whole thing. I was like, oh, my post, I got to do my post today, and I got my second post, and then, oh, why didn't this guy upload my post? And then they get into these weird idea of scarcity, like all of a sudden that's going to be the last good idea that they posted. That's going to be the and all of us, and I say this, I include myself, all of us struggle with feelings of entitlement at some point in time, all of us. And what's amazing about that is that if we learn to let that go, and then we just focus on being helpful to each other, of bringing value to other people, then it comes right back to us, and we don't really have to think about it. Like I say this because I live it. Like I genuinely attempt to help as many people as I can, and I don't do it keeping tabs. I don't keep tabs, and anybody who's my friend will tell you. It's not like I would say, yeah, remember that one time that you asked me to translate from Portuguese? Well, can you give me an upvote now because I translated? I don't do any of that. Like I don't keep tabs. I have no idea how much I've done for people, and that doesn't matter. And because I don't keep tabs, I feel free. And then people support me back. I don't even upvote for myself. I don't see that there's an issue with that, by the way. Let me just say that. There wouldn't be an issue if I upvoted myself, but I don't even do that. Because I go like, okay, my upvote's not that great. Let me just help the guys that are tiny, the ones that really have like tiny accounts, and upvote them. Or do my little giveaways on, for Mondays that we do giveaways, or Fridays that we do other giveaways. Let me use my Steam power for that. And I don't upvote myself, and I don't worry about that. And the fact that I don't worry about it makes me happier. I don't sit there hitting F5. And that's one of the things that the games that I was telling you about are designed to do. Like that's the attempt. So we have two games that we play. One is called the League of Helpiness that we do on Mondays, and then we have one that's called Post Shilling. And most of the people that are here have played both or participating of both.
I would like to hear more about the Post Shilling.
Yeah, the Post Shilling. What is this? Dry poo sounds painful. I don't know what's going on.
I don't know what's going on in the chat right now.
Yeah. I hope it's not related to what I'm saying.
No, I don't know what they're saying.
No, they were talking about your hair, I think, and that you don't use shampoo.
Oh, yeah. I don't use shampoo. Oh, okay. That makes sense.
I have no clue, man. I'm just reading what's been said in the chat room.
Yeah. Well, the whole thing about Post Shilling is on Fridays we get on a hangout very much like this one, but it's not radio. It's not being broadcasted. We were using the platform that will not be mentioned before, but now we're just recording onto YouTube, and it's very similar to Pimp Your Post that happens on STEEMIT Ramble, but you're not allowed to pimp your own post. You have to share somebody else's. So here's the mental ninjistics of that. So you cannot go in there and again fall victim into the whole mind of scarcity of thinking, oh my God, this post of mine, I didn't even make one STU. This is the one I'm going to show. You don't fall into that. You're actually going into the channel that everybody ignores on every single server, the promote your post channel, and you look for posts that you like. So you're basically telling people, hey, that thing that you never do, that's part of the game. Go do it. And they try to find posts that they like. So obviously, because of that, they're reading more, which you have to do. They're escaping their individualism, which I think it's important to do. And they find awesome content, which is a win. So it's already a win before the game even starts. Then you have to like it enough because you're supposed to sell me the idea of the post. You have to sell me why you like it. So if you sound like a kid that is doing a like a presentation of a book that he never read, and it's like, oh, Huckleberry Finn. Well, yeah. Well, this book is great because Huckle, he had a fin, and he liked to eat berries. You can't pull that because, of course, you're not going to win the game. You have to read it. You have to care. And the ones that chill get win delegations. Like we were doing. 1 week we did all the way to 1,500 Steam power in delegation. So I am lucky and I'm blessed that some of the members of Helpy have grown and they've become dolphins themselves, and they participate, and is everybody just loving each other, and the people that chill win these delegations for being nice. And look at that. Again, that's brainwashing. You're like, you escape your island, you go look at somebody else's heart, you see what they're doing, you're looking at their efforts, and then on top of that, you win 400 steam power for 7 days for free. What? So all of a sudden the brain clicks. Oh, if I leave my island and I help others, I receive. And once that takes over, it just snowballs. And so Anka calls it the ghost of Helby, and I think that's a very accurate description.
Well, that's awesome. Again, everybody, we are chatting with Menno tonight here on Ma1ne Snekky on MSPWaves, and it's certainly awesome to have all of you here with us. We've got a nice audience chat going here with many people chiming in the live audience, and again, we'll open it up to questions. If people do have questions for Menno, so go ahead and put those in the live audience chat on Discord right now. I saw a couple of kind of funny questions back earlier. None of them seemed Steam related or anything like that, but if people do have questions for Menno, we would certainly love to get to know him a little bit more. So now's your chance, live audience. If you want to ask some questions for Menno, certainly let us know.
Yes, this is the chance. Grab it with both hands. Oh, you like pineapple on your pizza? It's the real wolf's
Oh,
question.
hell yeah. Hell yeah.
Good,
I don't understand why people don't. I think it's delicious.
You are my best friend now. Finally.
Ace and Intrigue. I don't know what you mean, bro. I don't know what you Dolphins. Eroded thoughts. And Rondon, regarding that question, as a witness, why should we blame you for failures for like the only thing there was so much already said earlier today that I don't know if I can add any balance to the conversation or anything that is valuable, but the only thing I can say is that I'm glad that we're having conversations about this stuff, and I'm glad that a lot of people are trying to suggest possible solutions. At the same time, I'm hopeful that people start implementing also solutions. And today I actually already had a conversation with a good friend about something that we could do so that this doesn't happen again. And but I'm not going to talk about that right now. That's probably going to be announced tomorrow. But these are growing pains. I honestly, I wouldn't lie. I would lie if I said, oh no, everything went perfect. Also, obviously, I'm not going to say that. I think we could have done so much better. But it's important that if we have these conversations, these discussions, we don't attack the one company that still has us on the palm, and we don't shut down conversations because of it, because we're so upset. So, and that's not really what I have to say about that. It's like by all means, we need to discuss it more. We need to say this is the things that we would like to see. These are the ideas that we would like to implement so that they could happen. And leave aside such and such is an idiot, such and such doesn't know anything, such and such, because we're just shutting the door in our faces, and we're kind of committing harakiri there. Like, oh, I wonder why Ned doesn't want to talk to me. I make fun of him all the time, but I don't know why he doesn't want to talk to me. And I laugh too, but at the same time, we really have to see where that's not the best technique that we've been employing, and maybe that's why he's not posting or talking to anybody.
It's certainly been an interesting 48 hours here, from the lead up to the hard fork to the moment it happened to now here we are the next day. It's been an interesting time here that we've all been going through, and I don't think it's any one person's fault, obviously, but it's good that we are progressing. It's only been how long?
Yeah.
Like a little over 24 hours or so, or I don't know how long ago it's been since the hard fork happened, but at least things seem to be progressing more than it was even just this morning. So I don't know. I as a user of the Steem blockchain, I'm not personally upset that things kind of are at a halt for a little bit. I think it will come back. I don't think we have anything to panic about or anything like that. I understand people are frustrated that it's not completely working the way they were used to, and that it seems like the voting power got drained, right? Is that what I'm understanding happened. Like everybody went to kind of the 0% voting power, and now it's recharging.
The easiest way to understand it without getting super technical is that imagine that we were spending prior to the fork. Imagine that we're talking about a meal, right? And we had like a particular cost of the things that we were eating, right? And all of a sudden we did the fork, and then there's a whole different costs, and they backtracked and say, okay, you spent all this already, and you're like, no, but because it's a whole different way of calculating cost. That is the easiest way I can explain it. Like. Now, of course, now I can talk about the RC shares and all that stuff, and I think that all that confuses the user. And it's more like for the technical-minded people. But in simpler terms, when we switched fork, there was a different way of calculating cost of everything that was happening on the blockchain, but it started from the beginning of the day, and it calculated that, and so that's why everybody went into negatives. So what's happening now is that everything is getting balanced out, and most accounts right now don't have the negative mana anymore. Most. There's still a few that do.
Yeah, it seemed like we kind of did a big old reset. Like we kind of got charged for all the actions we had already done before, so that drained all the voting power and whatever, and now we're starting over. It's like a restart, kind of like, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Just with like voting power, not our actual Steem or anything like that.
I was actually considering the fact that this is a great little experiment, socially speaking. The fact that the voting powers are so weak now, and that we're going to have 5 days of, you could say, terrible pool allocation. You could say that is a valid thing to say, because then some of the dynamics that I think are more important, which is interaction and social value, are going to come to the surface. But in other words. There were some people that would only get interaction if they could give back big votes, right? And right now that's irrelevant. So it's an interesting experiment to see what would happen during these 4 or 5 days as votes recharge. I already seen some people interacting great and all this stuff, and they can only give penny up votes. So it kind of tells me that even though we tend to focus a lot on the valuation of Steem and where the cryptos are going, the majority of people actually do value that aspect of the blockchain that much more.
Oh yeah, people were rather upset that they couldn't post and that they couldn't do things and vote and leave comments, and then when they saw that their voting power was all depleted, there was a lot of people who were not so happy about that. And it's certainly been an interesting time, as we said, but I think we'll all get through it just fine. The voting power will recharge if you let it, and I think it seems like that's what we're going to have to do, right?
I have a little question.
Yeah.
I'm just wondering, something as big as a hard fork 20, would it be possible to test something like this on another platform before you implement it to, the actual platform you're doing it on?
Yeah, that was kind of the biggest fumble here. It's not that anybody would expect, anybody reasonable, for things to be perfect from the gate. It's just that the way that these things are supposed to be launched is you usually have a testnet that is fully functional, meaning that it has absolutely everything. It's a full simulation of how it's supposed to behave on the Steem blockchain itself. And you would have enough time to run everything on there, do a stress test to see how everything's going to react on that testnet. And then once you are perfectly sure that everything is good to go, then you would hard fork. That is the way that it's supposed to be done. So I think, to me, the biggest fumble is that we didn't do that enough. And the reasons why, they already were spoken today. There's like, there's some political cost if you don't go with the majority and all this, and that's valid. All those conversations are very valid, and I happen to agree with some of the frustrations that were expressed in the earlier show. I happen to agree, but at the same time, I have to remind myself that this is not going to be the last time. There's going to be a hard fork 21, possibly prior to SMT launch, and hopefully we learned our lesson. So next time, I intend, and I think my peers will too, I intend to be very vocal about doing the test right. And if things have to be delayed because tests are not done right, then I'll be one of those rebellious witnesses that's going to say, then it's not happening because, we can't do this again and hurt our investment like this. And even if it costs me votes, and even if somebody would say, oh, I thought Ma1ne was a good guy, but he doesn't want to go with, like, I don't care, because it's a matter of principle. And to me, the blockchain is more important than the political favor of the elite, But so I'm taking this as a personal lesson. And I realize that there's a big whale that controls the waters, but I don't intend to play that game.
All right, well
forced
said.
democracy. Yeah.
Again, everybody, we are chatting with Ma1ne tonight here on Ma1ne Snekky. And again, if anybody's got questions for Ma1ne, let me scroll back here. I don't know if we had any specific questions for Ma1ne. Let's see.
The chat's going so fast.
I know. There's lots of people here. Again, welcome to everybody. It's wonderful to have you all here. Oh, I think... there was one question, Ma1ne, a little back further up from the Hive. I don't know if you want to check that one out and see if that's something you want to answer. It wasn't too far back. Let's see. People said you became a witness and then everything broke. I don't think it's his fault, though. That's just a coincidence.
I don't see the question, though.
It was a little further back. But anyway. If anybody has other questions, though, for Ma1ne, now's your chance. We've had him on here chatting with us for almost a good hour here. So, of course, we don't want to take up too much of his time. He's a busy man. But if anybody has questions, now's your chance to ask away.
Dynamic Green is saying, how can taxing people for following others and making comments be a good thing? Well, here's something that maybe it wasn't so apparent before because it was kind of hidden. But here's the best way you can explain it. All blockchains, and this is not just Steem, all blockchains need to have a way to protect themselves from attacks, right? And the way that it happens on websites, I'm sure that you're familiar, so I'm just doing an analogy. There's something called the denial of service attack. That means that there's a bunch of requests to the website and then it goes down. And we know that hackers like to do that, and they do stuff blockchains, you could say, could be vulnerable to that too, unless the transactions are not free. So, like, one of the reasons why regular blockchain, we're talking about, let's call it traditional, even though that's kind of funny to say, is solid, is because you would have to have so much money to be able to bring it to its knees, to spend so much on transaction fees that you're not going to do it. So if you were a hacker and you were trying to destroy Bitcoin, for example, you would have to have pockets that I don't think anybody in the world has. Now, the problem with Steem, or the challenge with Steem, is that transactions, quote unquote, are free. Which is that I don't actually have to spend Steem tokens in order for me to transact with you. I can send you a memo, I can do an upvote, and I don't have to spend Steem tokens. You could look at it that way. There's some dilution that happens on stuff, but let's just keep it simple. So the way that they have curved the spam, and again, you can't eliminate it, obviously. You cannot eliminate it completely, is by first having a bandwidth system, which is what we had prior to this fork, that allowed, like, if you used it all up, you couldn't transact anymore. And it didn't mean that the Steem tokens disappear from your wallet. It just meant that you were done having activity. That already happened under hard fork 19. It was just pretty hidden. But if you would have looked into SteemD before the hard fork, underneath your voting power, you would have seen something that said bandwidth. And that was basically it. So depending on how much Steem power you had in your wallet, you had more bandwidth to do more things. So what's happening now, RC tokens, resource credits, it's basically the same difference. It's a different way of calculating how much you are allowed to transact. But it is necessary, and that's key, that any blockchain protects itself from spam attacks. Because if not, anybody could bring it to its knees.
Yeah, and that's kind of how I understood it too, is that the resource credit thing kind of replaces the analogy of the bandwidth bar, right? So
exactly.
And I just tested it myself here a minute ago. It was my first action of the day, since everything's kind of reset. And I checked my mana, to see how much mana I had or whatever. And I did a re-steam, and that number barely moved. I don't even think it went down, actually. It continued to go up. So for the amount of Steem power I had, a re-steam didn't really even make that number change. And that's, just my personal experience that's happened so far. Of course, each person has a different amount of steam power, so that's going to affect them differently. But I don't think it's really going to be any more taxing on us, right? From what I am understanding, like it's going to use the same amount of resources as it did before, right?
Yeah, but to put it in perspective, I don't think anybody that had, let's say, 15 or 20 steam power and hard fork 19 was struggling with bandwidth because you're a human. How many comments can you make? How many upvotes can you give?
Right.
You weren't going to run out of bandwidth. But you can program a bot to do a comment every 20 seconds. Well, now it's even faster, but before, every 20 seconds. And if you have a tiny bot doing that, with very little steam power, it would run out of juice. So it would basically stop the bot. But then spam attacks can be like other transactions. You can deploy other transactions every 3 seconds, which is the speed of the block on Steam. So, anyways, the whole point is to curb it. Like humans, you're not supposed to. If you ever exceed your bandwidth, and if you're already a minnow, that's crazy. I don't know what you would have to be doing to exceed it. So I don't think anybody has to worry about that. Tarika said something funny. I do want to answer. She's saying, my question is, what is it like to have Impechi for a brother? I mean, he's good looking, talented, and popular. Do you feel envious? I've never felt envy for my little brother. I've always felt pride. Always. Always. And I mean that from the heart. Still do.
All right.
It's funny. It's like when he was younger, and I don't know if somebody can do me a favor and share a picture, but he used to be a little famous, but my little brother, Pretty, little piggy. I don't know if he's in here. And older women used to come to the house, and my mom had to shoo him. It was really funny.
No, that's awesome. Good question, Torco.
Yeah, it's a good question. Good question.
And people are making comments about the word mana, and I had the same reaction when I heard it too. I was like, mana? I heard that, and I've played Magic the Gathering and many other video games that have mana as the source of magic or whatnot. And so that was just an interesting term that they decided to use that for this whole thing, mana.
Yeah, but it's pretty popular outside of cryptocurrency, so maybe they're onto something. I was thinking about that. It was a voting power. It sounds like, of course, we're in here, right? We're the crazy people, but like, think about somebody that knows nothing about Steam, and you're like, oh, you used up all your mana. Oh, my mana's used up? Okay. But if you say voting power, what is that? You know what I mean? So
right.
Maybe they're right about the name. Maybe.
So, but it's still the same thing as resource credits, right? We're talking about the same thing.
No, that's different. That's different. Resource credits is your bandwidth, so that's how many things you can do.
Right.
Yeah, mana is basically
your voting.
You could say your voting power. That's not quite, because there's some differences there, but not to confuse anybody, it's your voting power.
Okay. I'm still learning too, folks.
Yeah.
Snekky, you still here with us?
No, I quit.
What do you think of
I ran away.
What do you think about all these changes and
RC.
things?
Yeah, stamina RC. I like that. Resource credits you call it stamina. That's a good idea.
Yeah.
You want to know my opinion?
Yeah, like what do you think about all this stuff?
I hate changes, right?
Yeah.
So it's a difficult time for me mana, it makes me think about candy. We have candy here, we call it mana, it's with double N, but I want to have mana, it makes me hungry. Checking it, voting it, I wrecked my account. It was amazing. Feels good. So yeah, no, I'm not good at adapting at new things very fast, so it will take me a week or two to be settled in, but so far I have to say that it's going better than I expected it. I was like, maybe I'm having a week of vacation. That's not going to be happening, because everything is working, even though the voting power is still low and my vote is only worth like 11 cents. But it's good so far. And actually, on the platform itself, it didn't change that much. So I'm good. I'm happy with it, and I'm looking forward to what will come.
Yeah, change is good. Change is always good in the end. Makes us better.
Yeah, I always say upfront I don't like changes, because I'm like, someone who really doesn't handle that well. But it's necessary, and to be able to grow, you have to, change and adapt, change and adapt, change and adapt. So until we get to the point where everything is perfect, and I don't think we will ever get there because there's always something new, something better, we will be always having changes. And you can either scream about it if something not works, and put all your emotions in it and say, oh my god, it's not working, and yada yada yada. It doesn't help. It doesn't help. Just go outside, enjoy some fresh air, mow your lawn, or take a few pictures and think about posts you want to do in the future. Just relax and let it happen. Even though I don't like to let it happen because I don't like changes. So it's double.
Well, even if you don't feel like posting right now because like voting power is all dusted and you don't want to waste your posts, even though that's a funny thing to say, but there's no reason why you can't start writing them down on a Google Drive if you have some ideas that you want to do, and then wait a couple of days. No reason. Like, who's gonna?
Yeah.
If you get into a habit of writing, which most people have, like I've gotten to a habit of writing from 5 posts, 6 posts per day. Obviously, not just for the Men account, but I write for Helpy sometimes. I do other stuff for other people. Like I'll translate papers for other people. So I'm used to writing all day, and so the last 2 days for me have been kind of weird. So I'm just like opening up Google Drive, and I'm like, all right, I have this idea, something I wanted to share, and when the network comes back, I'll post it, and that's what I'm doing. So I think especially if you got into the habit of writing, don't stop. Don't. Because it's going to take a little while to restart the engine then.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I want to apologize ahead of time, everybody. It just started pouring rain really, really hard outside my windows, so I'm really hoping I don't lose power or anything, but fingers crossed here. So I don't know if you can hear the rain outside, but it's getting pretty crazy out here. So just a heads up if for some reason we go dark, but... let's see. No, if everybody's got any more questions for Menno, now's your chance. We've had him here for an hour, so again, I don't want to take too much of his time, but we, of course, appreciate you taking the time to join us on the show tonight, Menno. Do you have any other Steemians or any other things you want to give a shout-out to while you're here?
Well, if I start giving shout-outs to people, this show would never end. There's so many awesome people that I love, literally, on this platform. So I won't do that, but I will just say, that's a good question, Wolf. When are you returning my Telecaster Veggie? It's right here. It's right here. Well, when I go to Ecuador, I'll take it with me. I'll take it with me so I can give it to you. Can I answer Wolf's question?
It's your decision on questions you want to answer. So,
I think we have a bit of a golden opportunity. I think so. The Steam Fest is about to happen. Obviously, we're not too far away from it, and those who are going to go have a golden opportunity to have a good conversation with Ned, and maybe make a new commitment with him, because I think that we can have a better relationship with our CEO, the CEO, and I say our, like he's not my CEO, but of the blockchain. And be a little more consistent with what we expect. And the reason why I say that is kind of because, here we are saying that they are absolute crap and insulting them all the time, while at the same time demanding that they give us attention. And there's an inconsistency there. It's almost like I'm punching you in the face, but I don't know why you're angry at me. And then you say, well, yeah, but you punched me in the face, but that's because your face is stupid. And we're having this sort of circular negative loop in there that we could heal if we took our time to do so. And I'm not even saying that he is the best CEO or anything like that. I'm saying he's human, he's flawed, and maybe the Steam Fest will give somebody the opportunity to approach him and say, hey, listen, let's put these things behind us. Let's do it for the sake of the blockchain. Let's do it for the sake of Steam. And let's move forward, but let's do things right. It's like I am a little frustrated, I'm not gonna lie, of his deafening absence and silence, but it's not like I don't understand him, because when he says anything, he gets attacked, and so it's interesting. It's an interesting dynamic.
It is, and it would be awesome if everybody could work together and try to, if there is any issues out there with anybody, try to clear them up, and all of us work together and make this place better. But of course, we're all human, and there's going to be things that are going to happen between people. But I'm grateful for my experience here on the Steem blockchain. I'm happy that STEEMIT is a company that's providing a front end for the Steem blockchain, and it's helped me make many connections with different people and created opportunities. So, I'm certainly grateful for the experiences we've had so far, and just like anybody else, I'm hoping things improve as we go along. So, I echo what you're saying there.
Yeah, I don't know who was the first person that said this, but I really like it. We're all going to the same moon. Let's not forget that.
Right.
We're all bleeding red, right?
Yeah, we all bleed red, and we're all going to the same moon. What is that? It's a weird game.
It's good meme, Shane.
I like it.
Yeah,
I like it. That's very good.
yeah. Well, awesome. Certainly great having you on the show here tonight, Ma1ne. Is there any other things you want to mention while you're here? Just because we don't want to, cut you off too quick. But if there's any other things you want to mention while you're here, go for it.
Oh, no, last thing, and that's it. That's how I was going to close with this. Like, guys, honestly, this is one of this is like a challenge. We got over it. We're going to be fine. I've said this 1,000 times, and I'll say it again. What makes a project successful or not is the communities, is the people. So as long as we're here, and as long as we're willing to put in the work, and we're willing to build together, this is not going anywhere. Nothing's going to be lost. It's not going to go down to zero. None of that stupid stuff that the prophets of doom love to say. Everything's going to be fine. So, but the trick is that there is no trick. It's going to take hard work, and it's going to take everybody getting involved. So, like, if you're feeling a little down, if you're feeling a little disappointed with everything that's going on, then ask yourself what you can do personally to help the Steem blockchain do better, and then commit to it. And everything's going to be all right. It's just a matter of effort. We have among the witnesses alone, we have some geniuses on this blockchain, and I think if we come together and build together, there's nobody stopping Steem. I really don't think so. There's not going to be, because of the people. And again, it's not the technology, it's because of the people. So that's my closing message for everybody. And I hope that everybody walks away from today, from the conversation that you and I just had, Ma1ne and Snekky, thank you for having me. Feeling like, you know what, yeah, we fell, all right, here we go. Dust off the pants, let's move forward. Let's make it happen.
Yes, I totally agree with you. Let's make it happen.
Absolutely. And again, everybody, you can find Ma1ne on STEEMIT, of course, and the Helpy STEEMIT profile as well. There's a profile for Helpy too, right?
Yeah. It's obviously steemit.com, whatever front end you like to use /@Helpy. It posts daily. I don't know if it's going to post today. I doubt it because of the issues that we've been having with the bot and all that stuff. But it posts daily. Yes. And the little piggy is actually my right hand with a lot of things doing with Helpy. But yeah, if you want to follow that, if you want to learn some of the tutorials that we do or get involved with the trivia, it's open to anybody. So yeah.
All right, everybody, we've got the links right in the chat, so certainly check those out if you're interested. And yes, Ma1ne, thank you so much for coming on the show and telling us all about your Steem experience. We appreciate it.
Thank you for having me, brother.
Yeah, it was amazing having you, and I hope to have you back again in the future because you are a very positive person, and we need more of that here on the platform. More.
Thank you. Thank you. That means a lot. Thank you so much.
All right, everybody. So that was our chat tonight with Ma1ne. What do you think of that, Snekky?
I didn't like it. No, I liked it. It was amazing. I like positive people and people who can inspire others, and he's really doing that. So, yes, we need more Ma1nes. Absolutely.
And we still have more time left of the show here. We're going to go to the top of the hour, so stick around for hour 2 here of Ma1ne Snekky on MSPWaves. And, of course, we want to remind everybody, if you're interested in being a guest on the show sometime, just certainly get a hold of myself. Ma1ne Event is just spelled with a number 1 in Maine instead of an I. what is it? How do you like to say it, Snekky?
Ma1ne, Ma1ne event.
Yeah. So find me on STEEMIT, of course, or through Discord, and same with Poetic Snake. You can get a hold of us through Discord and Steem.chat, whatever's easier for you, and we would love to have you on the show sometime.
Yeah, you can leave a reply on one of the show posts. We do. I normally do one before the show, and Ma1ne does one after the show. If you want to be a guest, please leave us a reply there, because we really want to hear your story.
Absolutely. We've been fortunate the last few weeks. We've had, what is it? It's like almost 6 witnesses in a row as guests. And we didn't plan that. It just happened to work out that way. And so we're grateful for all of the various STEAM witnesses who have joined us on the show to come on, because, especially in times like this, I think it's important for people to learn more about what the witnesses do and all the things that they have to deal with to kind of help keep this blockchain running. And it helps us have a little bit of a better appreciation for what they do, I think. What do you think, Snekky? Did I lose you? I think I lost Poetic Snake, everybody. She's disappeared. Or she muted herself and doesn't know it.
No, I pushed the wrong button.
There she is.
Shoot me now. Just shoot me now. Do it now. Make it quick.
No. Give her some apples, everybody. She's running low on apples.
You noticed?
Yeah. But no, I was just saying that it's been nice having so many witnesses join us on the show lately, because it's been cool just hearing their side of the story, kind of thing.
Yeah, absolutely. And I learned so much from it, because I am really not good with technical stuff, and it's not why I'm here. I am here for the social side of it. And, it's good. It's good to hear them talk about, solutions, problems, but also what they do and how much, time it takes for them to keep everything going and such. We need witnesses. We need good witnesses. And everybody should vote for witnesses. You have 30 votes.
Yes, I shared the link a little earlier. Let me see if that's still what I have copied. Yes. So right here, there's the link to where you can vote for witnesses. We're not telling you which witnesses to vote for. You need to do your own research on that and support the ones that you want to support. But you do get up to 30 different votes. And they're not permanent. If you decide later on down the road that you don't want to support a certain witness, you can change your vote. But each Steemian has the opportunity to vote up to 30 different witnesses. And, I would encourage everybody to do so. Start looking into these different people who are out there and have witnesses running, see what kind of projects they're doing. Not all of them are on display all the time and in your face and all that kind of stuff. Many of them are just hardworking folks that are kind of working behind the scenes. So, look at the witnesses on the lists and whatnot, and do some research on them and support the ones you want to support.
Yes. And if you don't want to support them anymore, you can take away the vote and put someone else on. It's your freedom.
That's true.
You can do what you want.
That's true. Again, everybody, you are listening to Ma1ne Snekky here on MSPWaves. We are here each and every Wednesday from 10 to midnight UTC time. And we are so happy to have all of you here with us. We've got a nice audience going on Discord in the chat room. So big shout out to all of you who are tuning in tonight.
Yes, thank you for being here with us.
And Snekky, I understand we've got something to do here before we move on to our next official interview here on the show. Is it time to bring Mandel Sage on in here?
Yes, if you would be so kind to drag Mandel Sage on his ears into the room.
I think I can do that.
Yeah, because I tried, but...
All right, Mandel Sage, can you hear us?
Oh, hello. Sorry, the delay kind of caught me off guard again.
Oh, no worries. How are you doing?
I'm well, thank you. Just very tired. It's been quite a hectic day.
Yes.
But I'm doing great. STEEMIT's been weird as well, so it's been odd. But I've been taking the time to do lots of interesting things.
Now, I understand you're here for a special reason. Is there someone else I need to bring in here as well?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yes, there is, and I'll say who in just a second. I just did want to say very quickly, Snekky, that I have an apple or two to pick with you.
Again?
Yeah. Well, you never did tell me about Helpy. And I was in the audience now listening to Ma1ne speak and just thinking, oh my gosh, how did I never hear about this? And I was quite inspired.
Helpy is all over the place. How did you not hear about it?
I know. I don't know. I'm obviously not clued up enough. I don't know where I've been.
Hiding under a rock, perhaps.
But yes, Ma1ne, if you're still listening there, I just wanted to say I admire you now. I've seen your name everywhere. And now that I've heard you, I'm going to be voting for Helpy Witness and going to see if I can get involved somehow, because everything that you said, I was just like, yeah, I agree with that, and I agree with that. And yeah, so just wanted to say that very quickly. And it's also a great theme to jump off of because of that person that we're going to be inviting. Snekky, you know who it is.
I know who it is, yeah.
Pull them in quickly.
You want me to pull their name into the room, or do you want me to announce it?
No, just pull them in like all sneaky like.
If you need me to do it sneaky, you have to send me the DM of who it is here.
Yes, I will do that.
Remind me who it is here. One moment, everybody. Please stand by. All right, here's the DM. All right. I know who it is. Let's see here.
Everybody get excited. Keep your hands ready to clap.
All right. Boom. There we go.
There he is. Oh, I see his mic is muted.
He jumped back out.
No, Penderas, come back. I have a question for you.
You needed to let him know ahead of time here. Let's try one more time. All right. Oh, he didn't jump back in here. Let's try one more time. Let me move him one more time in here. Send him a DM and let him know it's time that he's jumping in here so that he knows what's going on. If he's not hearing us.
Don't be scared, Penderas.
Yeah, don't be scared, Penderas. We're going to bring you in live on air here. Okay, can you hear us?
There we go.
Can you hear us, Penderas? Hopefully he can hear us. Let's see here. Not muted, so should be good to go.
Yes,
Penderas can hear us. Okay, all right. He can hear us, Mandelsage.
Okay, excellent. And Pen, can you talk? Just because I have a question for you here.
Yeah, it was on disconnect. It seems on push to talk now again. Can you hear me?
Okay, yes, we can. Sorry for surprising you like that, but it was on purpose. So I just have a very quick question for you, if you don't mind. You are part of Welcome Wagon, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm what they call a sponsor. We kind of just like, if the graduates have questions, or you kind of just help out with learning resources or whatever way you can. Some sponsors can delegate power or whatever.
Okay, I see. Yeah, well, I have heard, in fact, that you are someone who often answers questions that newbies have, and that you've made yourself quite helpful there by doing that. So I have a question for you. Like hypothetically, let's say I'm new to the platform, and I came in and I asked you, Pen, please give me some advice. I like STEEMIT and it seems awesome. And I'd really like to become a really community focused kind of Steemian. What would you tell them? What advice would you give them?
That's a bit open-ended because we've got like 16 communities. My Discord is crazy. Well, firstly, I think what Welcome Wagon does very well is find people a place where they can fit. Like whenever you go into a new Discord server, obviously, it's different cliques in a sense once you get used to it. But if they want to go community focused, it depends.
Yeah, like what are the general traits of someone who, like, what should they be doing if they wanted to really become part of the STEEMIT community and make it better? no matter what communities they actually end up joining.
Well, kind of just do what you can to help. Don't expect anything back. And I think they said earlier with help, it was in one of the comments, never expect, although it was related to money or whatever, but never expect anything back, and always just be open and honest with what your intentions are. That's the best way you can join any community, because everyone knows where they stand with you, and they know they can turn to you for assistance, no matter how little the assistance is that you can give.
Yeah, that's awesome. Sorry, Maine. Did you want to? So yeah, so that's the thing. Pen, I feel like you are exactly that kind of person that you just described. And so let me just quickly do something here.
I wonder what you're doing right now, by the way. I already know what's happening. Are you nervous, Ben?
Okay, there we go. It let me post. I was just afraid because I haven't posted since STEEMIT got weird, but it let me do it. Okay, so Pen, I'm very happy to announce here on the Ma1ne Snekky show that you are the official second winner of the Golden Apple Award. I just posted the post, and just let me post it in here. There it is. Yes, I've had you in my scopes for a while now. This is a award that I conceived of way back when I joined the You Got Sneked server. We were like trying to think of some way to add to the platform, give back a bit. And yes, oh yeah, of course you remember the first one. I remember I contacted you with Snekky. But yes, congratulations, Pen.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I was wondering why Snekky asked me something about buddy up and stuff, and I was like, I'm not sure if I can answer that, but yeah, thank you very much to everyone then, and thanks Mandel for thinking of me. Yeah, I'm just gonna say thanks. Cheers.
Yes, yeah, and I really do think you deserve it. I mean, I'm there with you in buddy up, not always active, but I know that you're basically keeping things running all the time there, dedicating a lot of time there. And I have discovered how much work you put into helping others in the welcome wagon. And I think you were the perfect choice for this. So again, congratulations. And I would just like to, Dreamsteam asked me to just say very sorry that she couldn't be here. It's her son's birthday, but she really wanted to be here. And so I decided, because like with Snekky, I read out a comment. You'll see that a bunch of people have sent me messages to leave at the end of the post for you. And I'm just going to read one for you now from Dreamsteam. If I can find it.
Yeah, no, congratulations. And no, that's a wonderful thing. And shout out to Mandel Sage for making that happen and organizing that and doing the work to make that happen. So yes, big shout out to you for getting the new Golden Apple Award. Congratulations.
Yes, Banderas, congratulations on being the second winner of the Golden Apple Award. You deserve it. I wrote a little something as well. You will read it whenever you have time. I know that when I won the award, it was amazing. I was so nervous and wrecked, and I almost cried on the show, so I kind of know how you feel right now. I just, you are a great person, and congratulations. You deserve it.
Indeed. Yes, this is really, it's a way to give back. I feel like there are lots of people on the platform like Panderis who do a lot of work in the background, and like he says, they don't expect anything back. It's just in their nature to help people. And it's through them, like collectively, that STEEMIT is an awesome place to be sometimes. So yes, let me read this comment from, this message from Dreamsteam. Okay, so she says, "My dearest M&M, when I first met you, I couldn't figure out if I liked you. Because, well, I just couldn't figure you out, and I like to figure people out. But then I decided, I don't like him. Lol. And then day by day, you won me over. I'm never wrong, but I'm so glad I was wrong about that. Because not only did I find out that I liked you, I later realized I love you. Yep, those fateful words from your post, I love you, mommy, put all the girls into a tizzy. And that's when we knew that your tough exterior was just a front, and the heart of you was warm and kind and gentle and generous and talented and humble. Because you are, Pen. I've seen you grow during our buddy up times, and I'm just in awe of the kind of man that you are. You're such a great friend. You're so humble. You give at every opportunity. You look for ways to help. And when Evening Art started our Welcome Wagon Burning Questions channel, I hoped that there would always be answers for our newbies. And oh my goodness, you are 24/7 giving your time and knowledge in that room. Whenever one of us gets there, you've already been there, already answered, already helped. It doesn't go unnoticed. We are so grateful to you for your help. But me, I am personally grateful to you for being a friend and for being a friend to my friends, for finding ways to come alongside people in your quiet way and make them feel important enough to warrant someone's time. I love you, M&M, and there is no one more deserving of this award. I'm so glad that they chose you. And yes, I knew about the show when you asked about it in DM. Well, because I was busy writing this. Congratulations, my dear Pen. We celebrate you today. Love, Dreamy."
All right. Well, that's awesome. And yes, a big congratulations. And everybody can check out the post that's just been linked in the chat. And yes, thank you and congratulations. Mandel, any final words on, do you want to just maybe mention how the process works for you finding a candidate for the Golden Apple?
Yeah, sure. So basically, it's like I say in the post, we basically just keep a lookout. It's kind of difficult because these people are, they're silent, they're in the background. So you kind of have to read between the lines, look, just keep a lookout. Of course, it requires to be always, part of many communities on Discord and see kind of what's going on, who's doing what. And that's all it is. It's me keeping a lookout, hearing the whispers, and Snekky helps me as well. And yes, this is, after her, this is the first time that we've done it, and it was kind of easy for us with Pen because he stands out as someone who helps a lot. So in the future, the process is we're still trying to decide how we're going to determine who is going to be eligible to win. Well, anybody's eligible, but who will be deserving.
Sure.
It's just basically looking out for what kind of content they do. It's got to be quality content. The types of comments and replies. Do they reply to the people that follow them? Do they help out in general? Do they have that community spirit?
Absolutely. Well, we appreciate you taking the time to jump on the show, and we'll catch you for the next one. Absolutely.
We'll be next month.
Thank you very much.
All right.
Yes, hopefully next month. This one took longer than a month, but yeah, we'll see. It should be more or less every month.
Cool.
Just one last thing I'd like to say as well is that I've recently gotten the Golden Apple account, and so there are things afoot. So watch the space.
Sure. Awesome. Well, thank you guys. We'll put you back in the regular broadcast room here, but thank you so much for joining us tonight. Let's see here.
Thank you.
Start moving them over here. But yes, that was awesome.
Yes, thank you, Mandel Sage, for joining us here. And Pandaris, I'm so sorry that I lied to you, but I had to. So I'm not a lying snake. Normally, I'm rather cute. So yeah, that's that.
And you are listening to Ma1ne Snekky here on MSPWaves. We've got one more guest to go here on the show tonight, and it looks like they have just jumped in the live on-air room here with us. Welcome, Underground. How are you doing?
Very well, thank you.
We appreciate you taking the time to join us tonight.
Well, yes, I was invited a while back, and my work schedule didn't allow, but I'm glad you all stayed with me and allowed me to come on at a better convenient time. I appreciate that.
That's our pleasure. Snekky, you want to say hello here? Jump right in.
No, I'm scared for Underground.
Why are you scared? Why are you scared?
Yes. No. Hello, Underground. It's great to talk to you again. Thank you for joining us on the show.
Likewise, it's been a while.
Yeah, it has. Because you're so busy with work.
Yes, the construction game. Right now, I have a job, 4 10-hour days, and hopefully all weekend off, 3-day weekend.
Well, there you go. Awesome. Remind our listeners, whereabouts in the world are you joining us from tonight?
I'm in Indiana in USA, and the time currently is 7:30 p.m. We're about 5 behind Universal Time, and I just got back from my evening commute a little before 7, had a bite to eat, logged in, and started making contact, and everybody was like, great, perfect, and just timed out real well.
Well, we're certainly glad to have you here. Now, how long have you been on the Steem blockchain so far?
I've been called an original gangster on a couple groups. Was with on the Steem blockchain. I started May 11th in 2017.
All right, yeah, so you've been on here, a bit over a year. Now, how did you find your way to the Steem blockchain in the first place? Do you remember?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I was tinkering with some Ethereum about a year before that, and it sat dormant. I got on the what was it called? The Decentralized Autonomous Authority Project. That's not right. It's the DAO, and I was on that. And then they did a hard fork because they got hacked, and huge numbers of their funds were moved to. They didn't get completely hacked. It was moved to a youth account, which has a 30-day delay on withdrawal. So the community said, by and large, said, hey, let's do a hard fork and fix the problem. And there was a few hardcore people that said, no, take your lumps, and it's like, well, why let a thief get away with money? At least prevent the theft. And common sense won out. And 10 months, and I made quite a bit of cash with Ethereum.
Now, were you somebody who was a content creator, or just somebody who was more interested in cryptocurrency once you found your way to Steem?
Yeah, I was originally just really a crypto person, and my mentor that I talk about, Stan. Everyone thinks it's Stan, Dan's brother. Mm-hmm. Dan's last name escapes me, but they're thinking of Stan that's on STEEMIT already. But my guy was like a self-made crypto millionaire and mentored me with free advice, and I mean, I would have done very well to follow everything he said to the letter, but of course he's like, these are some suggestions, do it your own way. And of course I didn't make quite as much as I could have, but he said, you like to do social media? I said, yeah, forums and things. He said, get on STEEMIT. He said, they've got a little bit of everything. So I did. And here I am. I mean, I've not really even hit my wheelhouse yet. I've got some great stuff coming up as far as content's concerned.
Now, what is it besides, the obvious possibilities of rewards and things like that? What has kept you here on the Steem blockchain now for over a year?
I started around the end of last year, the first of this year. I hit Dolphin on January 1st, possibly before, because I was figuring 5,000 steam power, but it was actually like 4950. So I might have hit it on New Year's Eve, but technically everyone said 5,000 and I said 5,000, and I hit that January 1st. And I had the Minnow boot camp also in the works, and that's been going on now late last year to now. And it's kind of in a lull with a lot of other things, being the low steam prices and associated, just the general mope and the FUD and everything has kind of got us in a little bit of a rut as well.
Yeah, it does seem that way, that, some people maybe have left, or they're not posting as much, or they're, maybe discouraged or whatnot. But, the opportunities that were there when Steam was higher is still there now, in my opinion. I mean, yes, the possibility of the rewards might be decreased in dollar value, but the opportunities are still there. And, it's always fascinating to me to just learn what brought people here, what's keeping them here, and all the different projects and opportunities that end up happening for all of these talented people that find their way here. And so tell us a little more about some of the projects you've been working on, and if you want to mention, anything that you have planned coming up.
Yes, the Minnow Boot Camp started out as a school, and we have a large curriculum that people can go through and advance. And it starts out basically as a vote trading bot, or I like to call it a vote multiplier, because people come in with basically a millesteam votes, and I can reward that vote back to them. Before, even at 10% power, I was awarding a 12-cent upvote, and we just had people signing up, and they supported the bot. The bot supported them with a greatly increased size of vote. And everybody likes that, of course, but I think we've somewhat taken on a kind of a negative connotation. It's a vote trading society, and it really is if people don't come in and participate. And I take the blame for that myself. My work schedule makes it hard to really be on as much as I would like to be. It's hard to find people to work with you. And I've had some great volunteers, and I try to reward them, but when the rewards taper off and things, it just makes it difficult to keep everything going. And we're, like I say, in a little bit of a rut, but we've got some plans to kind of work the way out of that. And the biggest plan for that right now was I'm going to see about just basically turning over everything to my general, who would be Eagle Spirit. And she's got some ideas, said, hey, you need to do this, you need to do that. And I'm like, those sound good. The time factor. And we've been discussing that. And she didn't know I was going to mention her here, but I was going to say, hey, take it over. We're in discussions on that right now, and see what you can make out of it. So I will still be involved. I still have heavy delegations involved. I have about 4,000 into our main bot that rewards the minnows and redfish and our planktons, and that's going to remain in place. We have a ability for people to participate, add some of their own in, and a payback system, which I haven't been doing any payouts much lately because the diminished rewards, but I do have some money for everybody that's been involved, and we're hanging on to that till it's maybe worth doling out, but that's still there, everybody. And I've been talking to several people, and they're like, hey, good, it's still going, let's that's good to know. Things are staying like they're at, and we've had good retention of the investors.
Well, that's cool. Thank you for sharing more about the project. So in case people were interested about that, I've just shared your STEEMIT profile link in the chat. So if anybody wants to check out your profile on Steem, you certainly can. People are asking in the chat how they can possibly join the boot camp. Is there still possibilities of that happening?
Absolutely. And I think we turned the corner here. We're going to have more for more of the school going on. We're still in discussions on that, but next time you take the floor again, I'll try to conjure up that link real quick. We have a Start Here page, and I try to send people there, but I'm not sure if that always works. The Discord seems to be a little wonky, but they can get in and go to a few areas and seek help there. And it's definitely still open. We have slots available. There's still voting power available. We don't use our voting power hardly ever, so that's available. And we do try to curate the best content. I do have many times where we have highlighted people. I've not been doing as much lately, but we've had highlights of Men of the Week and things like this. We had a contest, and we had a most recently, it was last Friday, we had Ma1ne witness interview, and Snekky come over and saw that and asked some questions and won some coin. And that went off fairly well last Friday. And we do plan more of those. And we had one just this Friday. So it was a week ago Friday when I was there. And then this Friday I was working, and Eagle Spirit had it again with Coffee and Deranged Visions team witness. And that went fairly well also. And that's a very good team, and I can strongly recommend them. I know both those gentlemen. They do a very good job, and very positive with their people, promoting. People that work with them get a lot of support. They get a lot of exposure. Wes, Deranged Visions, is into the photography really big, and he has a contest and a whale backing that, and it's some really nice prizes. And it's a true whale, and it's pretty big gentleman here on the blockchain also. But I've also got, maybe you'll tie into one of these, I've got some video material I was wanting to record and release, talking about some of my hobbies. I'm into the common misnomer, the free energy experimentation, and that's technically called over Unity, and it's building machinery. And mine are not machines, they're solid state electronic devices, but you can build electrical devices that really do. I mean, I'm an electrician by trade, that's my profession, and I've built some things in my shop that just blow me away for the outputs available on these. And I'm thinking, like, you can charge a whole rack of batteries, enough to power a house with one small solar cell. That's supposedly impossible, but I've got a circuit that's doing that, and it's been open sourced on the internet for probably almost a couple decades, and they don't tell you everything how to do it, but it's just a simple proof of concept, and it shows you, they say this produces this so-called free energy. Here's the basic device, you can hold it in the palm of your hand. And I'm building up one that you would need like a flatbed trailer to haul it around, or the bed of a pickup truck. So we're talking about a vast scale up there.
So it certainly sounds like you're into a wide variety of different things. So I'm sure your blog, as we go forward here, is going to have some interesting content on it. So people could certainly follow you on STEEMIT. And I understand that you've also become a witness recently, right? Or you've been a witness for a while. I'm not sure. Let us know.
Yes, that's correct. I have entered in as a partner with the Sapphic Witness, and that has been going fairly well. We had about 432 MVest when I started, or maybe it was three. Yeah, I think we've doubled it. We were in the 365 range, something like that. We just crossed the 700. One of our top supporters gained proxies exceeding 40 megavests, and we jumped from the 660s to over 700. I haven't even checked it today. We may have a few more, but I was going along, and one of my prospective supporters I see had really jumped in with both feet on the Helpy Witness, and I'd been hearing a lot about Ma1ne, and I'm sorry I missed him just prior to me and the Golden Apple Award recipient Penderis, but I just missed Ma1ne's interview, and I was still prepping and driving and all that, but I finally got to meet Ma1ne, and he's just great. Like, hey, come on in, join us, let's do this. We did. He saw in my blog there was I had a secondhand fundraiser after Deranged Visions got me on his and said, hey, if you want to do one. I said definitely. That was for Surpassing Google, Terry, and we did that. And then Ma1ne saw mine. He's like, hey, I want to do one too. And I said, go for it. And we jumped around and voted each other's posts and everything, and that's doing real well. And wish the best to Terry and his dad. They have a fairly large medical bill for his prescriptions, and I forget what it was, but where I'm pretty sure where he lives, and I think it was like $50 a day. You know, that's a lot of money for people in the United States even, so I know it's a lot. I think he's in Africa, and you know, it's a lot to me, even $50 a day. I wouldn't want to spend that unless I had to. And, you know, it's just got to be a burden. And I'm just more than happy that people have jumped in and helped out. And I got to meet him, got to meet Terry, and actually converse with him a little bit. And he's just every bit the good person people say about him. It's just, you know, just blown away.
Well, thank you for sharing that with us. And yes, it's always nice to see, you know, fellow Steemians helping people, and I've seen lots of things like that on the blockchain in my experience, and that's one of the wonderful things about being here, is that people are willing to help, they're willing to teach, and, you know, for me, that's one of the amazing things about this platform. So thank you so much for sharing that story with us. We are starting to get closer to the top of the hour here, but I want to give you a chance to, you know, if you want to mention any other projects or things you have planned, or if you want to give any other shout outs to some fellow Steemians, we'll kind of pass the mic over to you for just a moment here if you want to mention any other things while we have you here on the show.
Okay, very good. I would like to say that my witness partner has a running version. It might be even be on a separate server, but there's a running version of HiveMind, which will revolutionize the Steem blockchain and make it to be where it's you bypass the APIs, which are mainly for the security, and then when you have, you know, you've already established a secure connection, you can bypass the APIs and run some really high-speed gaming type stuff. Various applications, but it's fast enough to handle gaming. She's definitely up to speed on that, and I'd say ahead of the game. There's only like 1 or 2 devs working on that. We also have one new one that's so top secret I can't really say much about it, because it's going to be, I think when it comes out, it's going to be like, people are going to be like, oh, why didn't I think of that? Why didn't I do that? And it's just going to really make a lot of things easier on the Steem blockchain. Yeah, there's Safik there right now. She's in the Waves audience chat, and she has just showed up. Yep, someone's waving at her.
That was me.
Yeah, very good. So I hope I didn't bork it too badly, but yeah, we've got things coming. Um, there was also it's a revamped pre-existing search engine that is now available. If Safik could maybe drop that link in the audience chat, um, that is up and running now. It's I can't remember the name. It's just a little foreign to me.
They said they're getting some coffee and headphones, and they'll be right back. So, yes, no, we'll include if you've got any other links you want to send me a little later, I can include those in the show post afterwards. That way, people can find links to all of this stuff. And it's certainly awesome to learn about all these different witness partnerships that are happening. I think it's great that Steemians are kind of banding together to come up with solutions for, things like running witnesses and hosting all of these different projects and communities. It's amazing to see all the collaboration that happens here on the Steem blockchain, and it's cool to learn about the projects that you're involved with.
Yeah, I have one more thing that I'm hoping becomes really big. It's something I started. It was my idea, but it's a seed of an idea. Got several good people on board, and I call it. You may have seen. It's called the Dolphin Council, and we host that meeting room at the Minnow Boot Camp. It's got its own room. I think we've got a chat, a voice setup for that. But if we don't, that's just a simple matter of pushing a couple buttons. But anyway, have some very good people in that. And what it is it's quickly evolving to a Dolphin and Witness Council. And we're trying to get some people that really want to be there. And the idea is it's going to be like a think tank, a brainstorm, hopefully, and not just a tempest in a teacup. But yeah, hopefully it becomes something really big. I don't even pretend I could run the group, but I'm just trying to get it started, and we get enough people in here to say, hey, it's time to elect a leader, then it's going to happen. So we don't even have hard, fast rules yet. It's almost like we've got one rule: new people need to be brought in with like a super majority, or majority plus one. I don't mean, that was super majority originally was 3/5, and that was 3 out of 5. So it's not very big yet. And that is something that really want to get going. Snekky's in there. We have several people. Yeah, go ahead. Tell us about it.
You want me to tell everybody about it?
Well, yeah, right now you could even bounce some new ideas off of me. It's totally open. Anybody, we're all equals there. We have dolphins. We have witnesses. That's kind of the entry level there. I'd like to see people but other people could join as associates or something. That's something I'd definitely want to run by the whole group. But I want to make it open. I want to make it a brainstorming session. And one of the goals of that is try to figure out some ways and I'm doing this in my witness team, figure out some ways to actually maybe onboard some brick and mortar or semi-web businesses to the Steem blockchain, because that'll be big. With the SMTs, it's like selling advertising, but it's a totally new and revolutionary way. They can reward their followers the same way the Steem blockchain does, and they can bring people in just to work with a business.
Yep.
We've got a big deal going on, a big brainstorm going on that right now. Hopefully it'll grow, but it's it could be used for customer service. I mean, it's just the possibilities are endless.
No, and that is true. And, it's amazing all these opportunities that are now available to people because of blockchain, and it'll be interesting to see how things evolve as we go forward. Underground, we're running out of time here. We've only got a couple of minutes left, but are there any other people you want to give a quick shout out to, or any other, kind of closing thoughts here that you want to give to the live audience?
Yes, I would like to do that. I'd like to thank Eagle Spirit for basically being my right hand in the boot camp the whole time. We started it together, and it wasn't just my idea. That's kind of the money behind that, the SP, the delegations, and many people have done that too, but I did get the ball rolling. But without the help of Eagle Spirit, it would not exist today. I guarantee you that. Snekky has been a big impression on me, an inspiration. There was a thing a while back called the Dolphin Pod, which kind of morphed into the You Got Snecked group now. And, that was a good thing. I think the middle class, so to speak, we don't have classes, but the mid-level people getting together and collaborating can really do so much, because whales, what do we got? 40 whales
Right.
in the whole ocean. And that's just not enough to go around. People have to step up, and Snekky made that possible. That was one of the first efforts that I saw, and I need to get out more, but I've joined the Helpy, got to meet Minnow, and like I said, I was sorry I missed his segment, but that was that was a very good one, I'm sure. Got to know him a little bit, and he jumped right in on one of my projects, and we collaborated on that one thing I talked about before. Not one to blow any more horns, but it's like, it was great to see people just jump in with both feet and get down to work on that. And there's just so many right now, so
it's hard to name them all. Yeah. We are winding it up here. We've only got about a minute or two left, so we just want to thank you so much for taking the time to join us today, Underground. People can certainly find you on STEEMIT. Snekky has just shared the link to your Discord server for the Minnow Boot Camp, so people can certainly look into that too if they are interested. Also, if they want to look into your witness or whatnot, they can do that. But thank you so much, Underground, for taking the time to join us tonight. Snekky, do you want to say some final thoughts here?
Yes, thank you so much for joining us, Underground. I'm looking forward to everything that we are going to do together, and I wish you everything good on the platform.
Thank you so much to Underground for taking the time to join us here tonight. And, of course, you are listening to Ma1ne Snekky here on MSPWaves. Awesome show tonight. I really enjoyed our live guests and giving away that golden apple. That was a lot of fun. And, we certainly appreciate all of you taking the time to join us tonight.
Yes, absolutely. It was amazing to see you all here. And obviously, we hope that you will join us again next week. And in honor of Mandelsage, I would like to say that he forgot to thank everybody who sent text and, Steam to him for Pandarus. So thank you all for doing that, and totally amazing. Pandarus, congratulations. Thank you to the guests. You were great. And I'm looking forward to next week.
I'm going to do our disclaimer real quick.
You are listening to Ma1ne Snekky on MSPWaves. Everything you hear on this show is our opinion only and should not be taken as financial advice or advice of any kind. We are not financial experts or experts of anything. This show is intended for entertainment purposes only. MSPWaves and its owners take no responsibility for the opinions or statements made by the talk show host or our guests. Statements or show topics are not necessarily the beliefs of MSPWaves. The material on Ma1ne Snekky is provided for educational, informational, and entertainment purposes only. Always do your own research.
That's right. always do your own research. This show is just for entertainment purposes only. But we certainly thank you for joining us. This is Main Event and Poetic Snake saying so long. You can certainly find us on STEEMIT. Poetic Snake will share our blog profiles in the chat. And of course, we do a show post, a pre-show post, and then the second one on my profile that will contain the audio of the recording. So check it out and give it a re-steam if you'd like. Again, this is Ma1ne Snekky on MSPWaves, and we will see you next Wednesday at 10 o'clock UTC time. Have a great night, everybody.